Are you thinking about doing internal wall insulation but wondering what sort of insulation to use? Well, don't worry, there are loads of different options. I'm going to talk you through some of them here, sustainable and otherwise, and then you'll know what you're looking for. First of all, just to encourage you, we've insulated our Victorian terrace home internally 4 years ago. We're now saving 75% of our energy usage. Our EPC, the Energy Performance Certificate, has gone from D to B, and our house is worth £90,000 more than its non-retrofitted equivalent. So there is nothing to lose here. Not to mention that we've cut our carbon emissions by a shed load, which means also cut our contribution to the 21% of UK emissions that comes from leaky homes. So this is a win all round. The only downside is that it can be a bit messy, primarily because you may need to take the plaster off the wall. I'll put a link to a video here to tell you more about that. So your first question has to be, how do I know which is most efficient? Well, insulation will be measured in two ways. First of all, U value, which is how much heat can pass through the material in any form, or it's measured in thermal conductivity, and that's the amount of heat that's conducted through the material. Honestly, simply just look for the lower the better on both measures. In terms of materials to use, this will depend on the age of your house, and it's really important to get to grips with this before you choose the material you're going to use. Now, if your house is built before 1940, then it'll be breathable, which means the building itself is vapour permeable, so water vapour can move freely through the walls, and paradoxically that means they stay nice and dry. So why does this make a difference to the materials you use? Well, younger houses, i.e. cavity walls and solid concrete floors, aren't usually breathable, so you've got more choice of insulation. You don't have to bother about permeability. Older houses, on the other hand, are much more picky. Once breathable, always breathable. So if you want to do a good job without storing up problems for the future, then you need to go with vapour permeable insulation materials. Use non-vapour permeable insulation and you'll end up with condensation within your walls. That's interstitial condensation, and that'll eventually cause the brick to break down. Of course, the other element we need to think about, regardless of the age of our homes, is sustainability. Anything sustainable is more climate friendly and so less polluting. From an insulation point of view, that means talking renewable materials made from natural fibres and without the addition of harmful chemicals. There are some really interesting options for insulation. So wood fibres are commonly used material for internal wall insulation. We used it in our house on most of the walls. It comes in different forms and in different thicknesses, from 30mm through to 200mm. Each piece of wood fibre is called a batt, and it's been made into either flexible batts, which work well under suspended wood floors, walls and in lofts, and rigid batts that work well on walls, and in thinner version are a good substitute for plasterboard, and you can put your lime plaster on them. There's even an insulation made from old clothes, sometimes called denim insulation. The one we used is made from a mix of old denim jeans, cotton t-shirts and velvet. I'm still wondering where all this velvet comes from. But this is good for packing into walls or roof, or you can put it under the floor. We've got it over our bathroom ceiling. Hemp is increasingly in use these days. It's even being farmed in the UK now for use in insulation. In its flexible form, it can be used for walls, floors and roofs like the others. It also comes in the form of hempcrete blocks that can be fixed to internal or external walls. Anyone as old as me, you'll recognise this. It's cork, and we used it all the time in the 60s and 70s. It's good for insulation and soundproofing, which is very good when you've got a drummer in the family like we have. So if you want that, then cork's a good way to go. Sheep's wool is another option. This is fully sustainable, but do make sure that it's been treated for mites, or you might end up with another problem. This is great for loft insulation, walls and floors. This is an interesting one. It's a thermal plaster called diathanite, and it can be put on to any thickness. It's fully breathable and it's really useful. It can be put internally, and they've got one that goes in externally as well. We've got this on the wall of our front room, and it varies in thickness from 60mm to 100mm because we had the bay window to deal with. Then there's sisal. That's made from the sisal plant mixed with recycled sisal and recycled wool. It's used in floors, walls, lofts. It's great acoustic properties and can be recycled again at the end of its life. So if you want sustainable and need breathable, there's no shortage of options for you to choose from. The one challenge with sustainable options just now is that they often have to be ordered in advance, sometimes with a more specialist provider. Sometimes companies like Wix will get it in for you. I'll put some links in the description below so you can go exploring on those sites that do stock it all. Now, if you don't need breathable, you can go for the more commonly used and easily accessible options. The most common form of non-vapor permeable petrochemical insulation is PIR. I'm sure you'll have seen this leaning up against a skip somewhere when you're out for a walk. Now, builders will default to this, so you need to be ready to question their choices and make sure that you've got the right materials for your house. Our PIR is very efficient, so you can get good performance from a thin piece of material. We had to use it once when we forgot to factor in the thickness of insulation when measuring our new kitchen. It was all on its way to us, so by the time we realised there was no chance to make changes to the kitchen, so we had to change the insulation. Fortunately, the kitchen is an extension we built before we understood about sustainability in building, so it's all non-breathable and we could get away with it. I've since discovered something called XPS, which is another version of something like PIR. It's a rigid thermal insulation board and it's made from extruded polystyrene foam. But this one has been produced according to climate-friendly CO2 technology. So if you have to use something that's non-sustainable, then this is the better option. Then there is, of course, spray foam, but I would never recommend using this. It's definitely not eco-friendly. But that's not all. It's impossible to take out once installed, and it causes condensation. So if you're considering this, then please do your research very thoroughly. I know there are a number of insurance companies that won't take on houses with it in, and it can make your house very difficult to sell. So do your research. Once you've decided on the material you want to use, then there's the question of how to install it. I'm going to do another video of that. So if you've any questions, just let me know. I'll also put links to those companies in the description below. They provide sustainable insulation and they were incredibly helpful to us when we were trying to understand the implications of retrofit. So have a go and let me know how you're getting on.